Hi there, everyone. Welcome back to Strong Inside and Out, the place where you always get that nugget of information and learn how to become a strong woman on the inside and out. It is a beautiful Saturday in Houston. I have had a busy week. I turned 54 this week. I got to catch up with some friends. And it was the first week after kids were done at our school. So just wrapped up a few things with the other staff members, made some connections, went to a training for 2 days, made some more connections. As a matter of fact, it was a little humbling. Yesterday, as we were wrapping up the training, they had built into the day different times to be able to connect and network. And they gave us structured activities to complete. And this one activity was asking, you're supposed to find a partner and ask them what their favorite book is and why. So I find this partner. She was a first grade teacher from another district. And she said, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't had any time to read all year because I've been so busy teaching. And I said, understandable for sure. She shared that she likes to listen to podcasts. And I told her, well, I'm going to be honest. I think my favorite book this year is my own book. And it just so happens I finally got copies of my book sent to me this week. So that was also great news. But nonetheless, you would just know my luck. The speaker actually decided to call on us, and she called on my partner, and the partner was supposed to share about me, right? So you have to share about your partner. And the entire 200 people in the audience then knew that I was an international best-selling author. And then somebody from my district shared about the TED Talk. And so the good news is it was a little bit surreal. I wasn't sure if I was ready to put all of that out there, but then I realized, yes, you are. This is what you live for. This is why you do it. Besides the impact, right? But you need to have the people know what you do in order to have the impact. And so it actually got me some connections and gave out some of my brand new business cards for the Uncommon website. So super excited about the training and some good stuff in the training as well. So having said all that, here we are back for another great week. And I just was thinking about some shifts that I've been making and working on lately. I've shared, with you several times that 2024 was a rough year for me. I was getting to a place where I was connecting my self-worth to my income level, my success in bringing in the revenue for the business. And, I know reality. I totally know reality. I know that when you build something, it's going to take time. It's going to have to evolve, right? I've shared so many times that I had done so well in my career as a school leader and as a teacher that I really did feel like I could go into this with some kind of knowledge and skill that would just make me the anomaly. And I would just hit the 100,000 mark right away. Well, it didn't happen. And that's when I started to feel unworthy. And it was really a whole lot of feelings mixed into it. I was feeling intimidated by the fact that I had my life together. And now I was in a place where I was so out of my comfort zone that I had no idea what my next steps were going to be. I felt discouraged because I had been so hopeful and had such a great solid plan going into it. And people even said, you have a solid plan. And then it didn't come to fruition the same way that I wanted it to, right? So I don't want to say that it didn't do anything because it did, but it didn't do the things I wanted it to do. And I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome and a lot of, I'm not good enough for this. I was starting to fear people judging me, fear that I would lose everything. Fear that ultimately I just wasn't a good enough person. And even started to doubt and ask questions like, okay, God, what did I do to deserve this, right? I've gone through all of those emotions, all of the questions, all of the blood, sweat, and tears, and sleepless nights, and all of the things. And going into 2025, which I've also shared here, I feel like I was beginning to heal again. And every day was I was getting stronger again and reminding myself it takes baby steps. And now that you have a better outlook on things, you don't have to be so hyper focused on the setback, but now maybe think about what did the setback teach me, and then how can I have my comeback? And I've been going through a little, I'm going to call it a little challenge or a little training this week. So I have my school training, all of that, but I also, continue to work on my business in the evenings at home. And I have signed up for James Wedmore's Rise of the Digital CEO Challenge. And I've done this before. I did it last year as well. And I felt like last year was pretty helpful. And he's kind of beefed it up, right? It's a 3-day training now, 3 days over a 9-day span or 6-day span or something. First day one dropped Thursday maybe. So I started watching the replay yesterday. It's a 3-hour day one training, and I was impressed. I was so impressed with that. So impressed with the fact that he was giving so much knowledge out. I thought, I didn't pay for this, but I'm going to take advantage of it. So I took an hour of it yesterday driving home from the training. And then I took another hour this morning, and I have an hour to go, which I'm going to go sit in the sun here in a little bit. Don't judge me. I need a little vitamin D and finish the last hour. But thinking about all of the training and all of the things that he said, the day one training is really more about shifting your mindset. And we can tell ourselves all the time, right? We're smart. We're smart women. If you're listening to this podcast, I promise you, you're a bright woman or a bright man. You're not just out there fluttering around, unsure of what it is you want. You have goals in life. But then again, we're all real, right? Probably another reason why you listen to me. It's not easy. And it's not just like we can say, and I know people say, put the good out into the universe and it will come to you. I do believe that a little bit, but I also believe you can put the good out into the world, but you also have to do the work, right? You have to put the sweat equity into it as well, so to speak. And he said something today on the training that was very interesting. And he said that, we have control over choices. And our choices are one of two things. He shared that your choice one is what you do to make your goals happen, the actions that you take. And choice two are your beliefs or your feelings about those actions or what is actually happening. And he uses a triangle model, and I'm not going to take his thunder, but I am going to say this. It made me start to think about something. It made me start to think, okay, I want to build a life that I cannot wait to wake up to every day, right? And I do enjoy my life for the most part. There are still some things I'm working on and trying to make better. My business is one that I just really know I can make this huge. I know I can. I work a lot right now because I'm back to a 9 to 5. I also have a tutoring business that I do in the evenings with students and a bit on the weekend. And then I'm building both this new project in my business and the teacher certification program. It takes up a lot of my time. And when I can carve out time, I carve out my personal time mainly to be time for decompression, time with my daughter, or time catching up with my sister on phone and maybe my closest friend. I don't really go out and do a lot socially right now, but this is by choice. And I do every once in a while, but just not on a regular basis like I was before, right? And it's all by choice. So please don't reach out. Don't tell me you can help me. I get it. I get it all. I know how to design a schedule. I know how to run my day, right? But I started to think about, I also control the actions that I take every single day to make every single piece of this happen, right? I control what time I wake up in the morning, right? Yes, nod your head, yes. And if you're listening to this, you're going, yeah, 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 I have control over that. Certainly, there are things that can sometimes make it more difficult. I have an elderly dog. Right now, my dog is starting to really struggle. He doesn't sleep through the entire night. We go outside a lot in the night. He's having accidents. He's about to be 14 in another week. And it is just part of being an elderly dog owner. So I wake up a lot in the night. And when I wake up, I don't always go back to sleep right away, making it a little more difficult to wake up in the morning. But nonetheless, I control what time I wake up in the morning. I control my morning routine. Wake up, if it's a workout day, do the workout, walk the dog every day, no matter what, shower, always shower, right? Eat breakfast. I always eat breakfast. I have to eat in the mornings. Brush my teeth. I always brush my teeth. Determine what clothes I'm going to wear, and then get myself out the door in enough time to be a responsible, functioning adult and make it to work on time. Okay. When I'm at work, I control basically my day. Now, I remember days as a principal, I thought, oh my gosh, this day is so out of control. And every once in a while, stuff like that happens. But nonetheless, I control my schedule. I build a schedule and 90% of the time get to follow a schedule. Things come up, you make adjustments and you move forward. But all in all, you get to basically control your day. If you work for someone, maybe you have somebody else design that schedule for you, but you get to control your day, right? You know when to start, when to stop, when to take a break, when to eat lunch, all those things. And then, of course, you know how you control your drive home. You control once you get home, you control what time you make dinner, what your children's activities are. If you have children at home or grandchildren, you have control over those actions. And today, when I was writing down my actions in reference to what my ultimate goal is that I have not hit, I could see that I haven't really been controlling my actions. I control them on the days I feel good, and I don't control them on the days that I feel stressed and overwhelmed. And I had to step back for a second and I had to think, why? And then I stepped back to think about as I was moving from being in the classroom into leadership, I had situations that would get in my way too, but I was so focused on getting into that position as a principal. Once I decided to do so, that I didn't let those things become excuses. And I still feel like I'm working toward that, but maybe because of the setbacks that I had before, I'm allowing things that come at me sideways when I'm tired. Now, remember, we're talking after a full day's work, after an hour or two of tutoring in the evening, depending on the day, and then I start working on the business. I'm pretty tired by that point, right? It's like 8 to 10 o'clock at night as I'm working, but I'm letting that become an excuse. And so many people say the most successful people do it tired. The most successful people don't let life circumstances derail them. the most successful people keep moving forward no matter what. So that was my aha for today, my first aha. And then as the conversation went on, I started to see how these actions or lack of action on my part was controlling my beliefs. And I used the word inconsistent when I was talking about my actions. I have things that I have planned out. I'm doing them, but I'm doing them inconsistently, which then led to me feeling overwhelmed, me feeling unworthy, and me feeling like I'm never going to make this. It's not going to happen, which then leads to what James Wedmore was talking about in this training, your identity of whether you are a successful business owner in this aspect or successful at whatever you're doing. It's interesting how that becomes such a cycle, because then when you don't feel the identity or your identity shifts to I'm a wannabe business owner, right? Because that's where I'm at, or I have a hobby because it's not generating, honestly, any money right now. I'm not generating anything. I think I've made about $200 this year, and that's it because I haven't really put my full commitment into it. Now that's causing my actions to be different because now I'm being even more inconsistent with my actions. Make sense? And I just started to think about this whole question of when we have these setbacks and it really messes with our confidence and we really start to feel unworthy and we start to ask ourselves, are we worthy of having this great life? And we question it and we wonder, and that controls our identity of we're not good enough, we can't make this happen, which then continues to control our actions and so forth and so on. And I had a little bit of an epiphany today. And here it goes. And this might sound silly, but go with me here. What if I stopped asking, am I worthy? And start telling myself, I am worthy. I think I shared last week, I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about if money walked in the room, how would you feel about it? And I vulnerably said I would feel that I needed to stay on the other side of the room because I wasn't worthy enough to go have a conversation with money or with success. And it made me just be embarrassed for myself because I'm a high achiever. I'm a highly successful person. I have made a huge impact on other people. I know my stuff. But again, what if it's just a shift of am I worthy to I am worthy? I went out to work out this morning and I thought, okay, it's going to be a great workout. It's nice outside. It's not super, super humid like it has been. It's warm. It's summer, right? Almost here in Houston, and it's just reality. But it felt better than it had been in a while. And I went out, I had a plan. And instead of saying, can I get this plan done? I said to myself, I'm going to follow the plan. Sure, I still had a little tweak in my leg where I have that injury. And yes, I'm not in as good a shape as I have been in the past, but I got the plan done. And I felt good about the plan. Sometimes our mind plays a ton of tricks on us. And I think part of being a strong person is you have to be able to learn to control your mind. It's not easy. And for some people, we don't feel the pain, all the stuff. I've been one of those people in the past as well until I got old, right? Running long distances were not a problem for me because I didn't really feel pain. But I think even the strongest people, we go through life, we have things that happen, including these setbacks, and they start to question our abilities. And it's almost like our brain goes, okay, time to take over. I'm going to derail everything that this person's been working for and shut it down. Now, I've been through a lot in my life and I've dealt with a lot of things as a school teacher, a school leader, working in some very diverse communities. You don't just become, as a school leader, the school leader, you become a community leader. And you learn to understand where people can go wrong so quickly. And if we don't use our grit and perseverance, and worse yet, if we don't have that as a built skill, that brain is going to take over and shut us down. So I'm going to challenge everybody this week to really think about this. I don't have all the answers. I do know that for me, I believe that it's time for me to stand up and say, no, I'm stronger than this. I'm better than this. And stop asking because I feel like that's making me ask myself for permission instead of telling myself this is what is going to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm going to experiment with that this week. Every day this week. And I'll report out next week, but every day this week, instead of questioning, can I get this done? Questioning, how am I going to make this happen? Questioning anything. I'm going to shift my own thought to, I am going to, whatever it is. We are going to da 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 da. If you decide to take that challenge with me, I'd love to hear from you, see how it makes a difference for you, because we have so much potential. Things can get us down. It's easy to give up, especially when we're tired. But I have a card on my bulletin board right behind this computer that I see every time I record. And it says, I am worthy of my dream life. I tell myself that. And now it's time to stop questioning that. All right, y'all, that's everything I have for this week. Hopefully this made a little sense. I know I was kind of all over the place, but sometimes we just have to get these thoughts out of our mind and get them out into the world. And if you're anything like me, middle-aged, making pivots in your whole life, feeling like you're meant for more, and have the ADHD brain, you get it. You absolutely get it. But let's stop asking for permission to be worthy and let's start telling ourselves that we are worthy. Have a great week, and I'll see y'all next week right back here on Strong Inside and Out.